What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, hope everybody's doing well. Appreciate you jumping on. As you hop on, make sure to drop a comment where where you're at. Just say hi, and of course, every week we do a giveaway. Oh, no sound, really? Thanks, Jared. Appreciate that. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Appreciate everybody being here. And let's go. So real quick, we're going to give something away. We're going to bring my co-host in. What's up, Mr. Justin Timbershake? Can you hear me okay?
Mr. Lockhart, I can. How are you? Good afternoon.
Awesome. Hey. Doing great. So a couple things before we jump into it. Every single week we do we kind of have a giveaway, right? It's like you come, you watch the show, you learn something. Maybe we crack some jokes on somebody who's not here, and we give stuff away. So it's all good. It's all good. So last week, as the last few weeks we've been doing this, we're giving away Mr. Larry Smith's book. I got a few copies of this. I don't know if you've read this book, Dare to Get Rich. Larry Smith is.
I love Larry Smith.
I'm telling you. Oh, we just lost him. But anyway, so Larry Smith, for those that don't know, you can pick up his book at loveandmoneyhacks.com. I consider him a friend and mentor, multimillionaire, and wrote this book about shortening your learning curve to your finances. And we got you back. And so we're going to give this away. And so if one of my partners in crime out there would help me to tag Miss Tammy Palmer into the comment section. Miss Tammy Palmer is the one who won this. I got a couple signed copies, so we're gonna get this out to you, Tammy. So somebody could tag her, and we'll go ahead and notify her. She can get it. And so if you'd like one, I gotta get a couple to give away. I got mine signed with a special note in there.
Wow, and you got that signed by Larry Smith?
Yes.
What?
Yes. And so I talked to him. He agreed.
I'm calling Larry Smith tonight.
Well, he agreed for all of our young pros that he would sign them.
Really?
So all that anybody needs to do, very, very simple, is either tag a teammate, tag somebody in this stream right now, or share it somewhere, and we'll put you in a drawing next week. Signed copy from Mr. Smith could be yours. So anyway, hey man, Justin, how are you, man? You look great. The background looks awesome.
Thank you. Hey, you know what? Every day living and breathing is a great day, my friend. And I'm just bringing positivity in this world, one suit at a time.
One suit at a time. So let's just start there, right? Let's just start there. I mean, for everybody, I got to tell this quick story. Justin's heard this, so it's a bit of a repeat, but you can follow Mr. Timbershake at really any of your social media platforms of choice, Justin Timbershake. There's only one. And, I had a friend of mine who at one of our conventions got her picture taken with you. And you've heard me tell this, but I think it's worth telling again. And so, yeah. So she goes back. She had the picture of you and her on her desk. And somebody's like, and she was really excited. She was telling somebody, hey, I got my picture with Justin Timberlake. And they're like, no, it's not Justin Timberlake. And they're like, yeah. That's what he said. It's him. See, it's in the picture, and it's me and him. And like they almost got into an argument. And she calls me up. She goes, that guy, you said his name was Justin Timberlake. I said, no, Timbershake. It's just one letter off. It's Timbershake. She was disappointed, and I'm sorry to say, but anyway, that's one of my best stories. And so for anybody that doesn't know, right, catch us up to speed on, people see it, they see the suits, you're looking fresh, you got the colors, you got everything going on. Like how did that come to be?
It all started, I was a high school dropout and went to 5 high schools by junior year. And, but my parents divorced when I was very young, about 7 years old. Right. And subconsciously, without realizing, right, that could be very traumatic, for a child. And so, I moved around a lot from this parent to that, the back and forth and all those things. And Even though I dropped out of high school, I knew that I had to work. And so I worked at Best Buy and a couple different jobs and warehouses. And I used to be a mechanic. So I used to rebuild rotary engines for Mazda RX-7s. I grew up racing cars. And then I had the opportunity to own my own businesses. I owned a beauty salon, a postal business, a computer repair shop, a coffee shop, an ice cream shop, got my real estate license, started flipping houses. And I had to shut everything down in 2012 when the market was shifting and things were changing, and eBay was the next best thing. And that was a shifting point in my life, right? Because, have you ever heard the saying, 25 and up teach an old dog new tricks?
Yeah.
Right. However, we can rewire through massive trauma. And that was what was happening. Two things. Number one, shutting down my businesses. That's very traumatic. But number two, me and my ex-girlfriend broke up at the time. And so I just said, I'm going to live life and I'm going to experience everything. And I'm going to go out and see the world, and, new group of friends. And they had these modern men's fashion, red pants, blue pants, and the suspenders and the blazers. And so I asked them, hey, can you guys teach me how to dress like you? Right. So one Sunday, we're supposed to meet at Express. I show up. They did it. I said, that's okay. I'm going to do it on my own. And so I couldn't afford custom suits. And so I said, well, what if I could go to all the major retailers, find these colorful suits, put them all together, and if it doesn't work out, I can just walk into.
We lost him. So while we're wait for that. So I'm gonna, as soon as he gets back, if anybody has a question, type it in the chat. But he rattled off those businesses so quick. I don't even know what. So let's see, real estate. I think he said ice cream. Let's see if we can get him out of here and back in. Real estate, ice cream. I can't even remember all the other ones. Just incredible. If anybody's on Instagram, I would say go check him out on Instagram. Justin Timbershake. Let me see if I can find his handle real quick. Because he's killing the game over there. He definitely is. Jared, I see your comment, man. You can't hide from me. About my glasses. I'll tell you the thing on the glasses in a second. Bring him back in a second. So let's see, Justin. Yeah, it's just Justin Timbershake, all one word. He's killing it over there, right? With his suits, with everything he's got going on. Really interesting. So I got a couple of branding questions once we get back. All right. You're back.
Hey, can you see me okay?
Yep. There we go.
I have no idea what happened. My computer just decided to crash on me. So I couldn't afford custom suits, right? And so then I all these retailers, I found these colorful suits, and what happened was people would start coming up to me and saying, "Oh my gosh, I love your suit. I love, it's so positive. It made me so happy. I love your colors. What do you do?" And I said, "Ooh, I have two things here. Number one, I'm a walking billboard. So, everywhere I go, I can advertise myself without even doing anything. And number two, I can bring positivity and inspiration to others anywhere I went. It could be the grocery store, the gas station, right? I don't walk out the house unless I'm like this, because I don't know who I'm going to meet and who I'm going to bless and whose life I can change." And that's where it all started.
Okay, so a couple of things, right? When we were kind of chatting back and forth, different. We have people. So we have folks. For anybody that wants to follow the Young Pros, right? If you're on maybe our YouTube channel, Young Pros Official on YouTube, maybe you're on our Instagram, Young Pros Official on Instagram, and then we even have people in the chat who are who got some comments. But so we got folks all over the place. But yeah. So first thing, you rattled off a number of businesses that you own. You did it so fast. Could you repeat that?
Oh, yes. I owned a beauty salon, a postal business, a computer repair shop, a coffee shop, an ice cream shop, Soul Dish Network and DirecTV, and got my real estate license.
How many of those were at one time?
So I had the beauty salon the whole time in about 7 years. And then I had coffee shop and ice cream shop, and then that didn't work. And then we opened up a postal business computer repair shop. So I had about 3 businesses at the same time.
Okay. I mean, is that like one of those principles of, like the multiple cash flow type thing or multiple
Right.
streams of income?
Exactly. Just not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Sure, sure. Well, and I know we talked. I mean, I know you're still in the real estate game. Who knows what else? I saw some apparel being made on Instagram at one point in time. So I know you got a few different things going on. And and then I caught you. So we were at the Young Pro compound, and who came by? Somebody came by. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Mr. Calhoun or something. And you didn't have
Calhoun.
you didn't have your jacket on. Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't have your jacket on. You're like, wait. Let me go get my jacket. You got to have the Timbershake jacket. But
he didn't recognize me. He didn't recognize me.
Is that what it was? Is that what it was?
Yeah, he kind of like looked at me funny. He's like, he didn't recognize me. And then I went and put the jacket and I was like, oh, Timbershake. And then he knew exactly who, but that was so funny.
So for anybody who's like, because I'll be honest. I mean, I see the style and I'm just like, I don't know if I can do that. You know what I mean? Wearing a flowered shirt for me, this is like not outside of the box, but like it's getting close to the edge. But I totally get it. And I think it's brilliant. But if you could maybe share a couple of stories where like having kind of that type of brand has really worked out for you, or it's created some positivity in business.
Right. And I'll tell you this, Jim Carrey said, the effect we have on others is the most valuable currency there is. And when we step into somewhere, when we give our presence, when we open our mouths, we tell the world who we are, right? And that's so important, how we represent ourselves, especially being a young professional, right? Because, as they say, judge a book by its cover, right? Sometimes people look at me and think that, oh, because of my colorful clothing, I'm a different sexual orientation, or I'm, this and that, right? And it's so interesting how we're so quick to judge a book by its cover, and it happens all the time. But I can tell you this, I can go into a restaurant, I can go into anywhere and not go there for a year. And this happened because I used to live in Irvine, California, in Orange County. And I didn't go there. I used to go resort hopping off the beach. I didn't go there for like maybe a year, at least a year. I went back and it was literally like I was there yesterday. Oh, Justin, how are you? How you been? And honestly, I didn't remember any of their names. But I had such a profound impact because, again, the effect we have on others, that's the most valuable currency there is, right? What we say to people, the word we give to others, right? How we have that impact. And it's opened up so many doors for me. I can't even tell you.
Well, I would say one thing. I mean, we until recently we hadn't spent a lot of time together, but every time I have been around you, I mean, always positive, always upbeat, always. I mean, I can't think that you've ever said anything remotely negative. So I'll definitely give you that. So, and then also, we talked, and I know you're in the real estate game. I know you're winning pretty hard in that game too. So
yes.
I can only imagine. I've never been a realtor or real estate or anything like that. But I mean, I do know a couple things about marketing. But I just imagine that, especially in that space, especially on the West Coast, that people are like, hey, that guy, right? That Timbershake guy, I need him. I mean, does that happen?
Absolutely. Because it's people want, and look, let me tell you something. And as we've heard from, many mentors that we listen to, Tony Robbins or Gary Vaynerchuk or Les Brown, we're not going to please everyone. We're not going to make everyone happy. Right. And you're going to piss some people off, or you're going to get some people upset at some point in our lives. And sometimes it could be good reason. Sometimes it could be no reason, but a lot of times it's for no reason. And so not everybody's going to like my style, or like the way I dress, or like the way I look. Or they're going to go, hey, he's got funny hair, or his ears like kind of a little sloped here. Like, I don't know. I just don't like the guy. Right. But majority of the time it opens up, just as you said, it opens up so many doors where people are like, wow, they can admire someone. Because look, it takes a lot of tenacity. It takes a lot of confidence and so many things, to dress this part, to do what I do. It took me so long to get here, not just physically or look, but mentally to get here. Took quite some time.
Sure. I can imagine. So a couple things. I do have a question on that note, but I do want to pause because it's, I do have an affinity for pocket puffers and pocket squares, but I think it's, on a scale of 1 to 10, when I'm around you, it seems more like a 2 than an 8. So for any of my guys out there, if you would, I'm just interested. Now we're all like, this is COVID times and we're all in, and maybe we don't wear suit coats that much or jackets that much. But who out there that's watched? I'm looking at Rayvon. He's on. Maybe he does. Who wears a pocket square or a pocket puffer? What do you call it? Yours is more of a puffer, I would say, or more of a.
I call this a pocket bouquet.
I was gonna say it's more of a bouquet. So that's not 1, right? That's probably what, 5?
5. Yes.
Walk me through. Like, how does that even work?
So it's 5 pocket squares, and I twine them all together, and I custom make them every day depending on what colors I'm wearing. So I make sure that it matches with the color scheme of the colors that I'm wearing.
I had one. Jared says pocket squares. All right. So I had one. I have a black. It's like black silk, and I did get pretty decent at turning it, like, shaping into like a rose. Looks like a black rose.
Right.
But that's about as good as I got. So I need to go to the JT school of pocket bouquets.
There we go. Anytime, brother.
Yeah. So, back to what you were saying though, like, so what are a couple things, right? If somebody's out there and they're like, okay, I've heard I need to brand myself. That can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Some people say, well, I need to be all over social media, or I need to put up an ad somewhere. Or I need, like, what are some, like, when you went back and you're like, hey, I want to start dressing this way. And, you started taking some steps to really kind of put yourself out there. What are some, like, simple steps, maybe 1 or 2 things that you would recommend to somebody, like, hey, just kind of start going down this road here?
Right. And number 1, it starts with attraction marketing. And you can Google attraction marketing. There's so much information out there. And it's really more of, piquing interest, right? Getting people to be aware, asking questions, getting people to be interactive, right? Because the last thing that we want to do, just being quite transparent, nobody wants to follow someone on Facebook or Instagram if they're always posting about work or their business or whatever it is they're doing. People don't want to see that. People want to see lifestyle. People want to see, people traveling or going somewhere or doing something. And in the mix of that, we can get interaction from people. We just have to be a little bit creative and think outside the box, and just not just post anything, but just be a little bit strategic. I don't talk politics on my social media. There's kind of do's and don'ts, but attraction marketing is definitely the place to start.
Yeah. Would you, like, I have this, I don't think it's just call it a theory. I think it's more than that, but back, I don't know if we go back even 10 years, maybe even less, people still watch TV, but more people, like, I haven't had cable of any kind or any kind of, like, regular programming since 2006. Anything that I do watch, it's on YouTube, right? I have an interest or something, maybe sometimes catches my eye. I'm like, oh, what's that about? But, like, social media is the new TV channel. Instead of, like, 36 channels or 500 channels, there's 2 billion channels.
Yes.
And I was telling somebody recently, I said, they're an associate with us. I said, look, your Facebook, your Instagram is your TV channel. He's like, well, he's like, I don't use it as that. I said, whether you like it or not, it is. Most people, they come across it and they choose to hang out and watch it, or they just, they click on buy. Would you kind of agree with that?
100%. So, think about it. I don't use Snapchat too much, but if you go on Snapchat, they have an entire section where literally, seriously, it's like a television. They have, all these clips of You can catch up on your gossip. You can catch up on, this, that, the news. Literally, you could go on Snapchat and catch up on any type of news or information out there that you want, or looking at prank videos, or a lot of common things that are.
I was on Snapchat for a while, and I haven't been on there in a long time. If anybody uses Snapchat currently, just type in the chat, say me or whatever. I bet Timber Cheyenne, she seems like she's still on Snapchat.
Well, here's the thing, Josh. It's generational, right?
Yeah.
Because meaning somebody that's 52 or 55 years old is not going to use Snapchat because the individuals in their environment are not using Snapchat. So it's not going to make sense, right?
Yeah.
If somebody is 80 years old, maybe they might still be writing letters. Before my grandma passed away on my mom's side, I remember she used to write. I'm like, why on earth does she write letters? And now, like, I get it. Now, if someone receives a letter, it's like it's an honor to receive a letter. Wow, someone took the time just to write a letter. But again, it's our conditionings, it's our environments that dictate who we are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So depending on who you are, where you are, it's like, well, I'm LinkedIn, I'm a phone call. Even like, 20, 21, 22, 23, as I'm generalizing here, but you probably kind of maybe come across the same thing. When you go to communicate, instead of a phone call, it's always a text.
Mm-hmm.
Like a phone call is like, that's like special stuff. That's like what you do to your grandma on her birthday. Right. I don't know. Have you come across that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And, even as like in marketing, I've noticed text messaging is now at times a lot more powerful than making a phone call.
Yeah. Well, it's more efficient. I think I wouldn't say it's a more effective one-on-one, but it's definitely more efficient.
Well, and I'm sorry, let me clarify that. What I mean by that is if we're piquing interest, meaning
Right.
to initiate a phone call rather than picking it up and initiating to call somebody.
Voicemail, yeah.
Right, initiating a conversation by text and then migrating to a call. Obviously, there's nothing like an emotional connection that you get from voice to voice, right, or video to video. But just what I mean by that is by initializing, rather than the old school days where you pick up the phone to call someone, now instead you start with a text message or a message. Could be social media, could be WhatsApp, could be whatever platform you're using.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, when I got into the insurance industry, this was 2007. And I remember there was this guy in my office who made $1 million a year. And I was just like, man, this is insane. And I'd always hear him talk. He built his business 25 years earlier. It was when he started. And like, he would always talk about what he did. But I'm always like, how does this apply now? Because he's always talking like, oh, I would just call Justin up and say, hey, it was good seeing you at the town picnic. And you had your phone that was attached to the wall that you always answered because you didn't have caller ID. You were just amazed that somebody was actually calling you. It didn't seem to translate to me very well as a new person in 2007. Right. So, definitely I would agree that. So you mentioned attraction marketing. And I know, I'm with you. But I remember when I first started hearing about that, just to be helpful to anybody that's watching, I remember hearing that attraction marketing. I'm like, I know what attraction means. I know what marketing means, but in practicality, what does that actually mean? Like, what would somebody do that wants to, start attracting people in marketing?
To be honest with you, Josh, that is I would say that's a rabbit hole conversation.
Sure.
It's just so much entailed into that. And kind of, and number one, I would recommend to anyone, just Google attraction marketing, because here's the thing with attraction marketing, there is no right or wrong, right?
Yeah.
There's so many different ways you can do it, variations, variables, so on and so forth. So go into Google attraction marketing and get what different people are doing with attraction marketing and how they're doing attraction marketing, because there's so many different ways and variables. But as I said earlier, I would start with just creating number one is lifestyle, right? People want to see, and this is not saying you got to go and spend a bunch of money and, go all of this. And no, but sometimes people just want to see, you're traveling somewhere, even if you're just going somewhere by the beach, something, it doesn't have to be something so complex, just to see that you're getting out, you're living life, right? But everything should be somewhat intentional of what you're showing them, right? Showing people that, we can live the rest of our life, the best of our life, right? That we could just live every single day being happy and experiencing things, right? And somebody might see something that you post and go, gosh, I need to get out more. I'm just sitting here too much. I'm looking at my, Instagram stories or Facebook stories too much. God, I need to get out, right? Again, that's attraction marketing, because how we learn the intensity of an emotion, of how we learn it in that state, will dictate how it's put into our mind, right?
Yeah.
How we absorb it. So that's so important. So that, number one, that's definitely how I would start, is just creating content, again, that would pique someone's interest in you, not necessarily interest in what you're selling or what business you have, because at the end of the day, it's not per se what we're selling, it's how we're in essence selling ourselves.
Right. Well, it's almost like, I guess what I'm really hearing you say is you just have to make a kind of decision to just get busy, right? Just decide to start putting stuff out. Number one, so somebody told me one time, and this is, it's one of those, like, it's like circle talk. And they said, if no one follows you, then no one will follow you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's like,
yes.
Sometimes people all the time, associates would be like, what do I post that's going to get people to buy this? It's like, well, I'm looking at your stuff and no one looks at anything that you put out. So there's probably nothing. You could make a post saying I'm giving away free money, and that probably wouldn't get any responses.
Exactly. And Les Brown said, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, you got to go down the road. Maybe you just need to go get a pocket bouquet, and that's your first step. No, I'm just teasing, man. I'm just teasing. So what, obviously, you're working with us, you're working with Legal Shield Young Pros. You're one of our council members. You were at the boot camp. For everybody that saw that, if you're on the YouTube channel, you can go right now to Young Pro Showcase. That'll take you to the live stream, but Young Pros Official is the YouTube channel. If you go to the blueprint, that's the title of the video. The first couple minutes, there's some killer drone shots. And that was because of this man right here came in with the drone from California and saved the day. And just so we could get that shot and some extra footage too, right? So that was pretty cool. And he made my 3-year-old mad. She was very angry that she couldn't play with the drone. She chased it down the driveway. But what all, I know you're doing this. Obviously you're in real estate. What are the things that you're doing right now? Like, I'm sure you have a couple things going on.
As far as businesses wise?
Yes, sir.
So I work in Legal Shield, work in real estate. I also do motivational speaking and life coaching. I'm also launching a seasoning line, and I have a couple other dormant projects right now, but those are the main projects that I'm focusing on right now.
And I have to endorse the seasoning line. I've tried the secret spices. You need to, especially on a nice burger, at about 11:30 at night on a grill.
Those are good times, my friend.
It was, and there may be a picture floating around with a Justin man in the grill with his. I don't know if it said "kiss me," but in my mind it did. The apron.
It said "kiss the chef."
It did say "kiss the chef." Okay. That's a good one. So so you have a lot of different things going on. It sounds to be. Are you somebody that you always like lots of action, lots of stuff going on? Does that like keep your attention, or do you find most of your time is like on this one thing and then a bunch of little things?
Time management is so important, right? And as a leader, we have to be willing to be vulnerable, and I'll be vulnerable. That's not one of my strongest points.
Yeah.
And so right now, that's something that I'm working on. I just signed up for a course from John C. Maxwell and a couple other things that I'm looking into, right? But time management is so important, right? How we invest in time and having a schedule is so important. My Google Calendar is probably the most important thing in my life, because if it's not on my calendar, it's probably not happening, right?
Yeah.
So even if just doing simple things, even just having your morning routine, put that on your calendar, right? Have that on there. And that's actually one of my secrets as well. Every morning I start off with a 16 ounce of water with one squeezed lemon inside of it, and I drink that on an empty stomach. And then I drink a smoothie, right? Could be any type of your favorite fruit smoothie. And what that does is that lemon water helps to activate your natural detox. And that gives you natural energy. Because guess what? I don't drink coffee. I haven't drinking coffee in over 2 years, maybe like a couple times, right? But every time I drink it, it just gives me a headache. And I go, I don't even know why I just drank that.
I got to be honest. I'm an addict. I never drank coffee, and then I think my in-laws bought us a Keurig as like a housewarming gift one year, and that was all I needed to just go to the dark side. It was much too convenient, Well,
one thing I want to, and you should definitely look this up, and everybody that's watching should definitely look this up. There's a video from Tom Bilyeu, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar.
I'm sure you know Tom Bilyeu, the founder of Quest Nutrition, and he created what's called impact theory. And so every so often he interviews, right, all these very successful millionaires and billionaires and individuals, and he posts these interviews on YouTube, right, to help people in personal development and learning. Now, he did an interview with a gentleman called Dr. Joe Dispenza. That is probably one of, and in fact, I just found this a couple weeks ago, but that video is probably the best video I've ever seen in my life that has had the most impact out of anything I've ever listened to in personal development.
And what's the name of it again?
It's an interview with Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Joe Dispenza. Jared B., can you catch that in comments, please?
So if you just Google Tom Bilyeu, Dr. Joe Dispenza, it'll show right up.
Okay.
And he talks about how our body on the molecular neuron level, how that's connected with our mind and our decisions and things that we do. And it's so powerful to listen to that and to understand that. And it's one of those aha moments.
He's not the guy. I watched one with him, and he's not the guy that talks about longevity of life. Did they talk about that in that interview? I'm probably thinking about a different one.
The only thing what he does talk about is meditation, and how meditation on a molecular level, they did a study, and the I forget what you call it, but the hairs on our molecules, they did a specific test on it, and the individuals that did meditation for, I believe it was a 6-week period, they noticed that there was like a 10% more growth, something of that effect. And so basically, they're theorizing that, in essence, doing meditation every single morning, that could potentially give you 10% of your life back.
Wow.
So once you hear that, it's going to be life-changing, and it's so impactful. It's been so helpful for me, and I hope that helps somebody here today.
That I think that's one of those things where people hear and they go, well, I don't know if that's true, but at the same time, it can't hurt you at all, but it just might add 6, 7, or 8 years to your life.
Right. Exactly.
So that somebody commented on my glasses. So I have, I got a bit of a lazy eye. I've always had it, and I see fine. There's a bit of a prescription in there, but I was, talking to the eye doctor, and I was like, yeah, I sit in front of a computer, how many ever hours a day? And then I was asking about the blue blockers, blocking the blue light from And he said, well, that's what he said. He's like, well, it's not a definitive science. They've done a bunch of tests, not on humans. It's like, he's like, I wear them, my kids wear them. He goes, will it hurt you? Absolutely not. It just might help. So I'm like, all right, give me the glasses.
Interesting. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. But I put them on this morning. I got them today. I put them on this morning, and they do have a
good, my
prescription.
friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Jared B gave me a compliment. I appreciate that, Jared. But I can't wear it. Like if I'm looking at the computer, I'm fine. It's great. I feel the difference. But if I try to walk or go upstairs or do anything, it's like, whew, the prescription's kind of kicking my butt. So it's going to be getting used to. But anyway, we're getting off on the topic. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. I always, I hear that stuff. I read stuff like that. I'm always trying to improve my life, whether it be physically, mentally, what have you. I got a bunch of books. Again, Mr. Larry Smith's book. Lewis, I just saw you share. So you could be the winner next week. A signed copy, by the way. Larry agreed to sign it for any of the young pros. So since you're here, you're in good company. But it's one of those things. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start meditating, and I probably I missed more days than I hit, but that's definitely something on the list. So what are some things, since you talked about that, what are some things that you do in a day? You talked about the lemon water, and I spent a couple days around you. I saw you had a couple things that you're like intentionally about doing. What are a couple things that maybe one or two things that you do every day that like really, we talk a lot about getting your day started right. So maybe it's not the start necessarily, maybe it's finishing right. What are a couple things that you do that have really helped over time?
100% definitely the meditation in the morning. That's definitely, meditation, visualizing yourself, the person you want to become, right? Just spending, at least 10 to 15 minutes in that meditation, in that zone. There's, if you Google Tony Robbins priming, Tony Robbins actually has a method that he does. And it takes about 10, 15 minutes, but he has a very simple method that he does, a meditation method. And that has been tremendously impactful as well. That's definitely one of them. And, as I talked about the lemon water and the smoothies, right? Because if we don't have good health, then we can't help others. So that's so important that we have good health. Bee pollen. Bee pollen is actually something so I drink that. You could drink that with coffee, you could drink it with tea. It's one of the superfoods. And that's definitely had a tremendous impact on my health.
Well, like what you said, I mean, you have to, the whole thing, you have to put your air mask on first, oxygen mask on first before you help somebody else. So one thing I'd like to get to, we talked about branding. We've talked about you a little bit. The other thing that I've noticed, especially on Instagram, showing up on my stories when I come across your account, is it seems like you're always out and about around people. Now, as much as you can with everything going on. Obviously, I know, we're all being safe, but even before that, I always notice you're always out at a dinner or an event or doing something, networking in some fashion form, or, just being active. So, I mean, is that something that you just like being in the action, or is it something you're doing on purpose to meet people, or somewhere in between? What would you say?
It's definitely something that's intentional, right? It's definitely something that, because everything in life, we have to be intentional, right? And before I used to, go to all these fashion events and galas and, all these different things. But what I was realizing was it wasn't the right type of environment I needed to be in. It wasn't the right type of environment that was conducive to what I was trying to do, or who I was trying to touch, or even just to represent myself. So it's so important, again, where we are and who we are, and making sure we're in those proper environments in everything that we do. And so I had to adjust that. I had to say, wait a second, I need to be intentional, but a little bit intentional somewhere else.
Yeah. So what kind of places do you go to now versus the fashion shows? Like what's kind of your thing, that your environment that you like to be in?
Personal development conferences, networking meetings, chambers of commerces, Rotary clubs, those types of things, business environments, any type of, networking, or Sometimes somebody would, invite me to their house or to go see something, or, being part of like a social club, or, something where you're in, because look, we're young professionals here. We're entrepreneurs. So we need to be in a business environment, right? Because how we do anything is how we do everything.
Yeah. Yeah. We're young professionals, not young amateurs.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
One more question on top of that. Do you find yourself, or do you make the decision internally? I was having this conversation today. Do you ever find yourselves in rooms where you're maybe the low man on the totem pole, maybe on the hierarchy of the, success curve, or whatever we want to call it, right? Is that something that you do? You try to seek out places where, you're around people that you would say are more successful than you?
Absolutely, because we tend to make about $5,000 just short or ahead of anyone that's in our environment. So and so it's so important that, who's with us, who's around us, who's in our environment. That's going to dictate who we are, right? Because we are what we eat. So absolutely, we need to be constantly in environments where there's people that have more information than us. There are people that are more smarter than us. We're people that we can learn from, because number one, we need to be willing to be vulnerable. And number two, if we're not growing, then we're just diminishing, right? And just because we're in a great house doesn't make us great, right? Just because we're part of a great church or a great corporation or a great organization doesn't make us great. If we're not contributing or giving to that company or that church or that organization, then we're diminishing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I was having that conversation with another young pro. We were talking today, and he's doing well. He's still pretty new, but he's doing well. And I think he had like a neighbor or somebody was saying something like, "Oh, you're doing well. Why do you work so hard?" Because that's kind of where they were at. Now, I know his goals, and he's got a long way to go to get to where his goals are. And so that was kind of my advice. I said, well, hey, you need to make sure that you're hanging out with people who are quote unquote doing better than you, right? Which the young pros are great for that, right? We actually, for anybody that's on, or you watch this between now and tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, we actually definitely have, we're calling it our Legend Series. If anybody knows Mr. Craig Hepner, one of our $1 Million Club members over and over and over again, he's going to be hanging out with us tomorrow night on the Young Pro Call. But yeah, I think that's huge. I think it's easy to get stuck in a rut no matter what level you're on. Would you agree with that?
I agree. Absolutely. 100, and sometimes, we get ourselves in a rut, but we can get ourselves out of the rut. Right. And so all it is just a decision. And so right now I'm focusing on sacrifice and consistency. What can I sacrifice in my life? And what can I be consistent about that sacrifice, right? So for me, if there's something that I have to have in my life, that I need to have, something that I'm addicted to, I've been tending to root those things out. If it's not just something natural, if it's not just something that comes natural within me or around me, I've been rooting those things out, just like coffee, or just like, so many different things. It could be different things for other people. It could be alcohol. It could be, whatever it might be. We have to, figure out how we can become addicted to something else, maybe addicted to helping somebody, that feeling that it gives us, right? That euphoria, right? Being addicted to contributing to society, right? Leaving something else, because what we do for ourselves, we take with us, and what we do for others, we leave behind.
Man, that's good. That was good.
Good. That's definitely something I live by every single day.
Absolutely. All right. Well, before we get out of here, any last comments, words of wisdom that you have?
Let me leave with this. Everyone has greatness within them. Everyone has something that they're supposed to contribute to society. Do you know where the richest place in the world is?
No.
If I asked you, Josh, Mr. Lockhart, where's the richest place in the world?
Richest place in the world. I don't know. My mind is searching for a city or something like that.
The richest place in the world is a cemetery. Because on our deathbed, all that's around us is the ghosts of visions and dreams and ideas that we had that we were too afraid to bring out. And so forever, those visions and ideas and that could have helped millions, made millions, saved millions, will forever die with us. And so the richest place in the world is the cemetery, because that's where those ideas and visions that could have changed the world will die forever. And so I encourage everyone, don't be afraid to be bold. Be afraid to be unknown. Go out there and contribute.
That's good.
That's my famous quote. But don't be afraid. Again, you don't have to be afraid to get started. Just get started. Just go. Just do it. Fail to succeed. Fail so many times. Fail until you hit so darn hard, because guess what? The next time you fail, it's not going to hurt as bad. The next time you fail, it's not going to hit as hard. And by the next time you keep failing and rejection and whatever that failure might be, it's not going to mean anything to you. And it's just going to pass like the Matrix, just going to pass right on.
Oh, man, that's awesome. And so the best way to do that for everybody out there, anybody that sees this, is to hang out with the Young Pros. And you can follow us at Young Pros Official on Instagram is really the best place, YouTube as well. But Mr. Timbershake, man, I really appreciate you hanging out with us. I appreciate your time. And I know we're going to be doing a lot of work together, so I'll catch you later, man.
You got it, my brother.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night to everyone, to you, to all the Young Pros. We'll see you guys.